What do you call it when one of the greatest boxing legends is pitted against a man who built his career on YouTube drama? For many, the answer was a disgrace. Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson, a 60-year-old icon, wasn't just a mismatch, it became the most controversial event in celebrity boxing history. This wasn't just about boxing, it was about age, respect, ethics, and the fine line between entertainment and exploitation.
At any point did you start to take your foot off the gas just a little bit because you knew he was tiring out?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a bit. You know, I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt.
Fans were furious, fighters were vocal, and Conor McGregor, he went off. Known for his sharp tongue and no-filter attitude, McGregor didn't hold back, calling out Jake Paul in a way only he could. But this wasn't just about the fight. It became a moment that raised uncomfortable questions about the future of boxing. Should we even allow fights like these? And how did Jake Paul think this would go over well? We are all to blame for this man. We are all talking and watching. We have to stop this fool. Don't tune into him until he fights someone who is fit, healthy, and not a grandfather. Any proper boxing people helping Paul need to look at themselves as. This is just sad play, GG. To the bozo that shared the ring, W Mike, you a whole bozo for this and you didn't get the job done, Shahed.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
is there a height limit in boxing?
Regardless of motive, McGregor's words struck a nerve. They put a spotlight on the ethical issues surrounding the fight and forced fans, fighters, and promoters to ask some hard questions. Should there be limits on who can step into the ring? And how far are we willing to go for entertainment? If you thought the fight itself was bad, the final round was even worse. Jake Paul, seeing an opportunity to finish strong, turned up the heat. Punch after punch landed on Tyson, who was clearly struggling to defend himself. For many fans, it was hard to watch. A 30-year-old fighter going full throttle against a 60-year-old legend. It felt wrong. Social media exploded. Memes mocked Paul for bullying a grandpa, while hashtags like #RespectTyson and #ShameOnJake trended for hours. Fans called Paul's aggression unnecessary and cruel.
It was an unbelievable display between a 58-year-old legend and a 27-year-old relatively young boxer. And he actually outboxed the boxer. Jake Paul outboxed Mike Tyson like he said he was going to do. Did you not? Like every single round.
No, and yeah, like what do people say? Like I told everyone what I was going to do is to give him a boxing lesson.
But it wasn't just about the punches. Fans questioned why the fight was even allowed to happen in the first place. Was it about honoring Tyson's legacy, or was it a blatant cash grab? Many pointed fingers at the promoters, accusing them of prioritizing profits over safety. This wasn't a fight, it was exploitation, one commentator said, and the sentiment was hard to argue against. Despite the backlash, Jake Paul defended his performance, claiming he treated Tyson with nothing but respect. But for most fans, actions spoke louder than words. The final round became the defining moment of the fight, and not in a good way. Instead of solidifying Paul's place in boxing, it turned him into a villain. It's one thing when fans criticize you, but when some of the biggest names in the sport start weighing in, that's a different story. Gervonta Davis, one of the most respected fighters in boxing, didn't hold back. He called out Jake Paul for failing to deliver a decisive victory despite having every advantage. For Davis, the issue wasn't just about the fight, it was about respect. He accused Paul of tarnishing Tyson's legacy, turning one of the sport's greatest figures into little more than a marketing gimmick. And Davis wasn't alone. KSI, who's had his own history with Paul, described the fight as heartbreaking. He said it was painful to see Tyson struggling while Paul went all in, landing punches that felt more about ego than skill. What a sad watch. Whole thing was sad. Mike Tyson is twice the age of Jake Paul. It was never ever gonna be close. I can't believe that this elderly abuse was even sanctioned. Just a disgusting.
Even towards the end of his career, he was done. But it's just we wanted to relive the moment, and that's just all it is, man. Just grabbing to that moment when Mike was the most feared man in the world. But unfortunately, we weren't going to see that because age is age at the end of the day. But with Jake Paul, I'm never watching this guy fight again unless he fights an actual boxer that's actually not retired. You understand? Like, I mean, this is by far the worst. I'm happy for Mike in a sense. Everyone's saying he's getting paid 20 M's for this fight. Never really took too much damage for it. I mean, one more L on his record won't change anything. where people rank Tyson in the history of boxing, they will hold him there in that same position. So this fight does not diminish Mike Tyson whatsoever, because we all know he's 60 years old, man. But yeah, man, embarrassing, absolutely shocking. Netflix, but big up to the ladies. Serrano Taylor fight, that was the main event. That was entertaining. That was two ladies who wanted to knock each other out.
These criticisms weren't just noise. They added credibility to the backlash and turned the spotlight on the bigger issue: how fights like these affect the sport's integrity. When legends like Tyson are reduced to props in someone else's story, what does that say about boxing? Conor McGregor and Jake Paul have been circling each other for years, trading insults and teasing a possible fight. But after the Tyson match, McGregor's disdain for Paul hit a new level. He called Paul a wannabe fighter and said the Tyson fight was proof that Paul doesn't belong in the ring. The rivalry between McGregor and Paul isn't just about boxing, it's about pride. For McGregor, fighting Paul would be about defending the sport's honor. For Paul, it would be a chance to prove he's more than just a celebrity boxer. The stakes would be massive, and the hype off the charts. But whether or not this fight happens, one thing is clear: McGregor isn't letting this go. He sees Paul as a problem, not just for him, but for boxing itself. And if McGregor gets his way, he might just be the one to solve it.
Jackass.
As the fight ended and news broke of Tyson's hospital visit, the conversation shifted. Fans who had spent the night criticizing Paul turned their attention to Tyson, flooding social media with messages of support. "We love you, Mike," one post read, capturing the sentiment of thousands. Tyson's hospital visit, though precautionary, was a stark reminder of the risks involved in fights like these. At 60, Tyson's body isn't what it used to be, and the physical toll of facing someone like Paul was clear. For many, the fact that Tyson needed medical attention at all was proof that this fight should never have happened. But despite everything, Tyson remained gracious. He thanked fans for their support and assured them he was okay. His resilience only deepened the admiration people have for him. "Mike Tyson is a warrior," one fan tweeted, "but he shouldn't have to prove it like this." The outpouring of love for Tyson wasn't just about his health, it was about his legacy. Fans didn't want this fight to define him. For them, Tyson will always be the unstoppable force who ruled the ring, not the man who was dragged into a fight he never should have taken.
You're telling me I've stayed up until 5 AM, not only get flashed by Mike Tyson's cheeks, not something I wanted to see tonight, but on top of that, Netflix kept crashing for everyone. The amount of times I had to restart this live stream because there was that many people waiting to watch this fight. You'd have thought Netflix have had so much time to prepare themselves for this, that stuff like this wouldn't have happened. Then it gets even worse because he lost. Mike Tyson lost. That's not what I wanted to happen. No one wanted that to happen. Apart from maybe like little kids that are like little Jake Paul fanboys. Jake Paul just beat up a pensioner. Is what it comes down to. This man is like a year or two from getting like a free bus.
The fight may have ended in the ring, but the real storm was brewing online. Jake Paul became the talk of the internet, but not for the reasons he'd hoped. Social media lit up with a mixture of memes, rants, and outright condemnation. It was a tidal wave of attention, but most of it painted Paul as the villain. Fans were furious at how the fight unfolded. Many called Paul out for his aggressive tactics, especially in the final round, where his relentless punches on a visibly struggling Tyson left a bitter taste. Tweets like, "Beating a 60-year-old legend isn't a flex, Jake," captured the overall mood. Even casual observers, who tuned in more for the spectacle than the sport, couldn't help but criticize Paul's lack of sportsmanship. Despite the backlash, Paul leaned into the controversy. He posted highlights from the fight on Instagram, captioned with statements like "Respect to the GOAT Mike Tyson" and "Another win in the books." But these attempts at damage control only fueled the criticism. For many, Paul's posts felt hollow, more about self-promotion than genuine respect for Tyson or the sport. Ultimately, while the fight made Paul one of the most talked about figures in boxing, it came at a cost. The attention he craved turned into a flood of negativity, leaving fans to wonder if the notoriety was worth the damage to his reputation. The Tyson-Paul fight wasn't just a spectacle, it was a moral dilemma. Watching a 60-year-old man battle a much younger, stronger opponent raised serious ethical questions about boxing and the boundaries of sports entertainment. For many, the fight felt like a step too far.
What about you guys, but I feel bad watching this fight. It just doesn't feel right. Like, it feels bad, man.
First, there's the issue of safety. Tyson's age and physical condition made him vulnerable, and it showed. His movements were slower, his punches less precise, and his ability to defend himself diminished. While the fight was technically an exhibition, the intensity of Paul's attacks blurred the lines. Should fights like these even be allowed? And who bears responsibility when something goes wrong? Then there's the question of respect. Tyson isn't just another fighter, he's a legend, a man who shaped the sport. Putting him in a position where his legacy could be tarnished felt to many like a disservice to everything he's accomplished. Fans argued that the fight wasn't about honoring Tyson, it was about exploiting his name for profit. Promoters also came under fire. Critics accused them of prioritizing spectacle over safety, using Tyson's legacy as a marketing tool rather than treating him as a competitor. The lack of clear regulations for exhibition matches only added to the controversy, with many calling for stricter guidelines to prevent mismatches like this in the future. In the end, the ethical questions raised by the fight go beyond Tyson and Paul. They challenge the very nature of celebrity boxing and its place in the sport. Is it worth risking a fighter's health and legacy for the sake of entertainment? The answer for many is no. The fallout from the Tyson-Paul fight wasn't just about the fighters, it was about boxing itself. Once a sport defined by skill, discipline, and respect, boxing is now grappling with an identity crisis. The rise of celebrity matches, while profitable, is shifting the focus from talent to theatrics, and the Tyson-Paul bout became the poster child for this trend.
Currently 6 in the morning, and I've had to wait all night in the UK to watch that. Shame on me. But most importantly, shame on Netflix. You have absolutely robbed us tonight. Yeah. We couldn't even watch the damn stream because it was buffering. Yeah. That's number one. Yeah. And the fact, yeah, we watched that. We are the losers tonight. All of us are the losers to watch an innocent 58-year-old man, a legend, an icon of the boxing world, get absolutely, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but I felt uneasy watching that tonight.
For traditional boxing fans, the fight was a slap in the face. Watching a legend like Tyson reduced to a sideshow felt like a betrayal of everything the sport stands for. Critics argued that matches like this cheapen boxing, turning it into a circus rather than a competition. This isn't boxing, it's reality TV, one commentator said, summing up the frustration. But it's not all bad. Celebrity matches bring new audiences to the sport, especially younger fans who might not otherwise watch boxing. For promoters, these fights are cash cows, generating massive pay-per-view sales and social media buzz. The challenge is finding a balance, embracing the entertainment value without sacrificing the sport's credibility. The Tyson-Paul fight also highlighted the risks of this trend. When mismatches like this happen, the potential for harm, both physical and reputational, is huge. If boxing wants to protect its future, it needs to draw clearer lines between entertainment and competition. Otherwise, the sport risks losing the respect and authenticity that made it great in the first place. On social media, the narrative took a life of its own. Platforms like Twitter and Instagram became hubs for memes, jokes, and angry commentary. Some posts were lighthearted, poking fun at Paul for fighting someone who could be his grandfather, but others cut deeper. Fans shared slowed down clips of Tyson struggling in the ring, paired with captions like, "This isn't boxing, this is exploitation." The emotional weight of these posts was undeniable. Interestingly, some corners of the internet defended the fight, arguing that Tyson knew what he was signing up for. A vocal minority praised Paul for having the courage to face a legend, regardless of the age gap. These defenses, however, were drowned out by the overwhelming criticism that dominated the conversation. Even influencers and celebrities weighed in. Popular YouTubers created reaction videos dissecting the fight, while retired fighters gave interviews condemning the event. Every voice added to the growing chorus that questioned whether celebrity boxing was damaging the sport. The media didn't just cover the fight, it framed it as a turning point, pushing fans to reconsider what they expect from boxing.
Megan, what do you make of Jake's performance tonight?
Absolutely stupendous.
What did you think of Mike Tyson?
I love Uncle Mike. He's just such a, I mean, like, that was impressive, no?
Yeah.
For a 58-year-old. Hi, how are you? That was, yeah, he's like tough, proud of him, weathered the storm with a young brute named Jake Paul. I think Jake let him live. I do.
He wants to fight you, bro.
Yeah, he wants to fight you next. What about that?
I think he wants money. I don't think he wants to fight me.
Would you take the fight?
No.
Why? Gotta say it.
The Tyson-Paul fight wasn't just a spectacle, it was a turning point. It forced the boxing world to confront some uncomfortable truths about the direction the sport is heading. And while the fallout was messy, it also offered a chance to learn and grow. First, boxing needs better regulation. Exhibition matches like this operate in a gray area with fewer rules and less oversight. Tyson's health scare was a stark reminder of the risks, and it's clear that stricter guidelines are needed to protect fighters, especially those past their prime. Second, the sport needs to rethink its priorities. Celebrity matches might bring in money, but they also risk alienating loyal fans who value skill and tradition over spectacle. Finding a balance between entertainment and authenticity will be crucial if boxing wants to maintain its credibility. Finally, boxing needs to honor its legends. Fighters like Tyson deserve respect, not exploitation. Instead of using their names to sell fights, promoters should focus on celebrating their achievements and preserving their legacies. The Tyson-Paul fight may have been controversial, but it wasn't all bad. It sparked important conversations about the sport's future and what fans want to see. If boxing can take these lessons to heart, it might just come out stronger on the other side. But beyond the fighters, this was a wake-up call for boxing itself. The sport is at a crossroads, torn between tradition and the lure of celebrity-driven spectacle. The Tyson-Paul fight showed both the potential and the pitfalls of this trend, leaving fans to wonder, what's next? So what do you think? Was this fight a celebration of boxing's evolution or a step in the wrong direction? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.